Taking screenshots is a pretty simple task that most of us do every single day, and today we're just gonna go through the ways you can take a screenshot in Linux, because there are multiple ways to take screenshots depending on the multiple situations. So starting with, I just wanna explain a little bit about Xorg and Wayland. Both of these are display servers. Well, Wayland is technically a display protocol, but that's for another video. And it's basically what helps display your stuff, right? So each desktop has a display server that's gonna be either Xorg or Wayland, and both of these have different ways of things working. So on Xorg, most of the time any sort of screen capture stuff just works out of the box, and on Wayland there are a bit of complications, especially if you're using a Wayland compositor. And today we're just gonna cover both Xorg and Wayland. Starting with Xorg. If you're using Xorg, then the way you take a screenshot is super simple. I'm just gonna explain a tool called Flameshot, which is what you'd use to take a screenshot, mainly because Flameshot is super powerful. So right now I am in Wayland, but I also have Flameshot working. I'm just gonna open up Flameshot here and show you how it looks like. I hope OBS is recording this, and once I select a region with this Flameshot, I can simply move it around if I want to, and I can do lots of stuff, right? I can blur some stuff here. Let's say I want to blur these trees, I can do that. Let's say I want to add some text in here, I can do that. Maybe I want to add a shape, and I can also change the color that I'm using. So let's say I want to change this to this reddish color and add this shape, or maybe this shape, whatever you want, you can do that. We can even add like an arrow you want, right? And we can even brush over some stuff if you want that. You can have this stuff which it's like a inversion of your screenshot, right? It's making the colors inverted. You can do all of that, and once you're done with your masterpiece screenshot, which you don't have to do any of this, you can just save it as regularly. You can either press this button to copy it to your clipboard or save it. Now the way Flameshot works is that when you run Flameshot, then it will run as this little applet here in your system tray, and then you can click it at any time to activate Flameshot. You can also activate it from whatever terminal you use by typing in Flameshot GUI. So you'd probably want to add a key binding to execute this command. And that's Flameshot on Xorg. It works perfectly fine, there's nothing wrong with it, and it's generally the best screenshot utility. As for Wayland though, you have multiple utilities to take screenshot, with a Flameshot not being a very popular one, because on most Wayland compositors, Flameshot doesn't actually work. So if you're using a WL roots compositor, which I am using a WL roots compositor, I'm using DWL, and some other ones are Sway and River, both of those use WL roots. You can simply search up if your Wayland compositor is using WL roots, and if it does, then what you can do is that you can activate a Flameshot with this command in your auto start configuration. So you can simply search the internet for how to add this program in your auto start configuration in this Wayland compositor, right? And what you want to do is set this environment variable called xtg_current_desktop equals sway. And the thing with Flameshot is that you always want it to use sway if you're on WL roots, because I think it only recognizes sway and it doesn't recognize DWL. I'm not sure about River, so you're gonna want to put sway in here. This will work completely fine. Besides the XTG desktop being sway, it will actually work. And then you can just run that, and it will run that system tray applet, and you can take your screenshots. Now what if you are not on a WL roots compositor? For example, Hyperland is probably the most popular Wayland compositor, and it switched from WL roots to Aquamarine, which is Hyperland's own sort of system. And if you're using that, then you can simply use this tool called Hypershot. Now Hypershot is a pretty simple tool to take your screenshot using Grim and Slurp. For example, if I do Hypershot M and then region, there should be a region here, right? And there we go. And I can take a screenshot, and once I copy that, it will put it into the clipboard, and it will also save the image. So what Hypershot does is that it's actually just a script that makes use of two tools called Grim and Slurp. Grim is where you use to take a screenshot, and the thing with Grim is that it only takes a screenshot of your entire screen, and it also makes use of slurp, which allows you to actually pick a region. And that's how Hypershot works. And you can use Hypershot on literally any other Wayland compositor that isn't on WL Roots. You can use it on WL Roots Wayland compositor if you want that. It just works despite the name being Hypershot. And that's how you take screenshots on Linux. I hope you enjoyed this video and see you later.